All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the developer process video training from our developer training archive, co-founder of GenCom. And today I'm just going to give you a brief overview of how the entire process works for developing a letter of intent. A couple notes before we get into it. Number one, I will not be going into depth on any of the tools in this video. This video presumes that you've watched the other video trainings and knows exactly how and what to utilize and how all these other tools work. And so in this video, I'm just going to show you how it all fits together. If you're lost and you don't know what these things mean, please watch the other separate videos on Energy Toolbase, Enact, Helioscope, and the financial spreadsheet to get an understanding of what all these parts mean individually. But here, I'm just going to presume that you have already have understood that. Second is I recommend you watch this in two times or 1.5 times speed. It'll just save you some time, and it's a little trick to help with comprehension. And if you do miss something and you want to go over it, you can always just rewind the video. So here I am in a lead. This is a lead. This is what it'll look like when you have received it. Has the information. I'll have the electric bills submitted by the agents, and you will receive it, just like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to download the electric bills and look at them. I have an example of one right here. This is for the customer that we're going to be doing our analysis for. So also in the Energy Toolbase video, we've shown you how to look at an electric bill and utilize Energy Toolbase. Watch that and understand how this whole process works. So once you get the 12 bills, you're going to do the analysis, and what you're going to do is you're going to go to Energy Toolbase, you're going to create the lead, and you're going to create an energy use profile by clicking on the plus sign there. But I'm just going to go ahead and show. This is what an energy use profile looks like. Each one's going to be different for each different project. You might have multiple meters. You might have multiple profiles. Each project is going to be unique, but this is kind of the general surface level of how to utilize it. So I put in the information relevant here, found the right rate schedule, and I've inputted the kilowatt hours and the demand charge for each month to get my total kilowatt hours for the year. And this is the estimate we use to figure out sizing for the system, and also the price per watt, or sorry, the demand blended rate for the amount that they're spending currently. Fill in this information, you will save it, go back to the lead, and you will create a proposal. Once you create the proposal, you can go straight to solar PV. And down here under where it says blended kilowatt, this is the number that we need for our financial analysis. So the reason why we utilize these different tools at the beginning is to get 3 specific numbers. So Energy Toolbase is needed so that we can get the blended rate. This is how much what their cost, how much they're paying per kilowatt hour on their electric bill currently, which we hope to offset. And now there's 2 other pieces of information we need. We need the amount of kilowatt hours for us to offset the system. And we also need the size of the system itself. Now, in Energy Toolbase, there's no way for us to figure out how much solar we can fit on the property. So that's why we use Helioscope. And again, there is a separate video on Helioscope, what it is, how we use it, da-da-da-da. But basically, this is how we outline how much solar we can fit in the area. So here I've roofs, and you can see that between the 2 segments, I'm able to do 251 kilowatts, or let's say 252 kilowatts on the roof. Now, I could, for example, add solar right here on the carports, and again, on the Helioscope training, showing you how to do that, to maybe see if we can add more. And now that we have these 2 numbers sorted, we can take this number, 251.6, and we input it into PV watts. And again, in the same Helioscope video, shown you how to utilize PV watts and what that means. So again, just presuming you know what it entails. So 252 kilowatts in Doral, Florida, can produce 375,347 kilowatt hours per year. If you want, you can input that into Energy Toolbase, as I did here. You click on Add a PV Array. You click Save. You put the size of the system here to save the number, and it shoots this out. And it also gives you a rough overview of what you could save. So here, here's a good sign that the deal probably won't work too well. We're doing about a 4% offset, doing about a 39% offset in their kilowatt hours, 4% offset on their demand, 40% on their energy cost. So it gives you all the numbers, but the blended rate is really the big number. And the reason why we use these 3 separate tools is because each tool specializes in what it does best. So for Energy Toolbase, it's getting the blended rate and doing the analysis on the electric bills. Helioscope is to figure out how much solar we can fit on the property. PV watts takes how much solar we can fit on the property and gives us a great number for the kilowatt hour. So we utilize those 3 tools to get those 3 numbers: kilowatt hours a year, the kilowatts for the system, and the blended rate for the price for energy. And this is also, we can come to our financial spreadsheet. And again, if you don't know what this is or you're confused, please watch the financial spreadsheet video so that you know what the financial spreadsheet video is. So here is what a financial spreadsheet looks like for this project. So I put in the blended rate. This is the Energy Toolbase number right here into B4. I put in the PV watts number, kilowatt hours usage right here. And I put in the helioscope number, 256,000, which is watts, even though it says kilowatt size. So just make sure to change that into watts. And there. And so now I have the 3 numbers I needed, and now I do the analysis. So basically what we need to do is there's 3 main quadrants you got to look at. So you want to look at savings to the customer, and you want this to be around 10%, especially for the smaller size systems, to make it palatable for the customer. So you try to do our best here, and how you do that is you change this number right here. So if I were to change 6.7 to 6.8, click enter, 9.46 now changes to an 8.1. So that's how you manipulate that side. Then you have this number right here, and as you can tell, this is not a very good number. This is what the investor would make. So as you know, the financiers have to make some money on the deal in order for it to be palatable and financeable. And this project doesn't have really that much margin at all. They're making, they have to initially invest $437,000, and they're making $1,961 a year. It's not really a very palatable investment for them. It'd be very hard to finance. And the last thing that we need to look at is the budget here. So here you're going to play around with the different numbers. And again, in the financial spreadsheet, we'll talk about what these numbers mean and how you know what numbers to put in here. But you play around with the numbers, and GenCom's profit here, which is relatively low, is 58,000. Panel prices, all of this, and that leads to the total price per watt of $1.71. So then this total investment takes $1.70, 256,000. You get $437,000. $437,000 as the price for the system. So here's how you generally do an analysis, and this is what it'll show and give you a sense of if the project's viable or not. So in this case, a investment deal, because it's nowhere near 9%, is not palatable for us at this time. And that's basically how you would do it. Now, if the numbers did work out, and let's say this investor number was closer to 9%, and the savings to the customer was around 9, 10, 11%, and GenCom made a healthy profit, and all the other numbers balanced out, we would generate a LOI. And so the LOI is the document that you will eventually send the agent, who will then connect you with the customer, and you send this to the customer to schedule the call. And this is a template that you'll have, and you're going to change a handful of numbers. So how you get this $567,000 is if you come back to this spreadsheet here. If you actually scroll all the way to the right, you'll see right here where it's saying $562,000. A guesstimate, right? So it's within about 85% of what we presume we can get. There's future details about future trainings, so how to get more so change this like 500,000 relevant. You should change all this information to make it relevant. Yeah, the and last some terms, and make sure to again change that here. And that is it. So you take this, you submit it to us at GenCom, and we will verify your worksheet and the LOI, make sure it makes sense, and then you're good to go. It's a quick video. I know I went through it fast, but it's also to show you that it is really just that simple. I mean, it is knowing how to utilize 4 different tools. Actually, sorry, 5 different tools. Enact, which is your lead source. Energy tool base, where you're getting the helioscope, where you're getting the total size of the system. PV watts, which is the kilowatt hours. You take the 3 numbers from energy tool base, helioscope, and PV watts. You put it into the spreadsheet. You manipulate basically the 3 areas: the price to the customer, the budget, and you see if there's a win-win that can be found between all the parties. And if it's good, you send that to us, and then you generate the LOI. You're taking time to learn how to be a developer, and we'll see you on the next trainings.